per talk. And yes, so I hope they will enjoy the session and he will answer all their queries. And they will be benefited from this expert talk. So I welcome you, sir, for this webinar. So,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to brief about Dr. Amit Sinhal, sir. He is a passionate academician who wished to dedicate his life toward excellence in higher education, especially in computer science and engineering domain. He brings in 10 years of IT industry experience as a software developer and project manager. In his 11 years of teaching and research experience, he has published one patent, one international book, four book chapters, and more than 50 research papers in the international journals, presented more than 10 papers in international and national conferences, organized four national international conferences, and attended more than 100 FDPs and workshops, delivered numerous lectures and keynote addresses in conference and training programs as the conference chairperson, a conference paper reviewer, and an invited speaker, and has supervised 45 MTech scholars. His skills and expertise are in the areas of neural networks and artificial intelligence, classification, feature extraction, computational intelligence, optimization, machine learning, pattern recognition, advanced machine learning, security, and cloud computing. And before passing the control to Amit sir, I would like to tell you all that as we have more than 250 participants, we'll be having a YouTube live session currently active on YouTube. So if there is anyone who was unable to join on Google Meet, as the limitation is of 100 participants, they can join it on YouTube Live. The link is already dropped in the chat box. You can share the link, and I pass the control to Amit sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. So, first of all, I just want to congratulate all the team of Professor Sonal and the department to organize this wonderful webinar. And I really thanks to the team for inviting me on the talk of on natural language processing. So thank you, Sonal. Long time to meet you virtually also. Yeah, just to mention, yeah, Sonal, if you want to speak, please.
Acknowledgement very needed as the part of me. And having a teacher like you is a blessing for me, and I'm very happy today to have you as a speaker in our institute. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation.
Okay, thank you. Of course, you are one of the good students from our actually that time, and you did really the work well. That time research was really not easy. That much resources was not there. I know, as it you how you have to face the difficulty to come along Bhopal. That time this online things was not so common. So every time you have to travel.
Yes.
So I really remember that actually pain you have taken to complete your MTech, and then you did a very nice research work. So I appreciate you. So and I
Thank
hope.
you so much, sir. I'm
Yeah.
happy that you still remember that thing.
Oh, I cannot like even if you are a teacher, na, you can always remember good students. So it's nice to actually interact with you in this with this along with your team. And I also thank Dr. So my screen is visible in presentation. Okay, in presentation mode, na it is visible. Na?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So okay. So without wasting time, I just want to start this talk on natural language processing. So everyone is now like we are living in the age of data, and every time as a user we are generating a lot of data. through either social media or many other platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and even WhatsApp also. So most of the data is text, but there is other data like audio as well as video are also producing, because now we have that facilities, devices, as well as the internet availability. So now it is more challenging to actually understand the things whatever we are producing. So of course the language is only the medium to communicate with each other. So natural language processing is basically, it is a subfield of course, linguistic science, where languages are there, their grammars, their things. So that is the base. But when we talk about the processing, it means computer science is involved, and especially AI. So NLP is mainly concerned about enabling computer to understand and process human language, right? So using this technique, or we can say this technology, NLP, we try to understand and process human language. And of course, languages are if we talk about the over the globe, there are around more than 2100 languages, and there are sub languages, a lot of sub languages. But it is not easy, because as a human also we need or we take time to learn any language. Even if we talk about the mother tongue, it also takes, as a child, we take 2 to 3 years to understand the things, basic things. So it's really a challenging task for computer also to understand and the way how this technique works, and gives us a lot of things which is actually required for our daily life. So first of all, we have to understand, since NLP is one of the subfield of AI, artificial intelligence, which is actually this time it's we can say on demand, and everything is now controlled through AI. There are another field you already know, like machine learning, expert systems, speech recognition, computer vision, robotics, and planning. So these are also some other fields, but our today's focus is on NLP, and this NLP is also divided into other fields like text generation, in which we have to like generate the text or conversion of text. Like if we give the input in some language, English, then we have a translators which will give the another way of another language also. Then another is question answering. Here it is like just chatbot. We put some queries, questions, then machine will answer. Machine will understand our question and it will answer. Context extraction. This is also very important requirement of nowadays to actually understand the thing from a paragraph. Machine should be able to understand the context of that paragraph. If any text is entered or any speech is given, then machine should understand from the keywords what this context is. Then of course classification is there, so that it can be classified, the text can be classified into for further processing. And machine translation, yeah, that is of course a task which is a lot of research is going on for translating real time. If we are speaking to someone and he doesn't know about our language, then a machine will convert even in real time, and if requirement is offline, then that is also possible. So nowadays a lot of research is human and machine. And of course it is not a new thing. From very old time when the computer invented, actually we that time only we started this thing to understand our language to the computer. but the way is different. We have developed a separate language for interacting with the computer. But now the demand is no, not everyone, like as a layman or a normal person, don't want to learn all the computer language like C programming or Java or Python even. So as a human, we need to actually do our things just by natural language or speaking in normal English or Hindi, our daily life statements, sentences, so that we want to work done by speaking any command, and computer will understand and act accordingly. So what are the typical interaction or steps between human and machine when we use this NLP to get the work done? First of all, in the first step, the human will speak to machine. Yeah, for just take a real example. Nowadays we are using a lot of Google Assistant, Siri or Cortana, and Alexa is there. Alexa is very common now. So, hey Alexa, we just open this, just do this. So by just saying the statements, the machine is doing the task. So what are the steps? First of all, human talk to the machine. Then machine captures the audio. Of course, there are input device, mic is there. It will capture our speech or whatever spoken things we have, contents are delivered, that is stored in the machine. Then audio to text conversion take place. Of course, to analyze this, is that audio to conversion text is going on, that is done by the machine. So this is one of the part of NLP, to convert audio into text. Then processing of text data into information. So of course, the text may contain a lot of things which is need to be processed, or this data need to be converted into useful information to actually understand the context, understand the question, understand the thing what machine is required to do. Then this information is converted to audio conversation, audio data, and then machine will respond to human by playing the audio file. Actually communication is happening. Or I can say, if how in to human also what happens, we internally do the same thing. When one human talk to another human, and the same thing we do, we listen the audio things, we understand, means convert into some text or extract the useful things, and accordingly we respond. So the same thing is done by the machine also. But can you imagine, it's not an easy task by a machine. A lot of actually coding or the thing resources are required to do this thing. And this is the core objective of NLP, to make machine interactive. Now we see what are the major challenges or major parameters which are actually trying to differentiate between our natural language, means any language, English, Hindi, or whatever we are speaking in our daily life, Marathi, etc. So what are the difference between this natural language and computer language, means which can computer understand? So normally computer understand our basic C, C++, Java, Python, etc. So what are the major difference? First is ambiguous. So natural languages are by nature, or we can say inherently, are ambiguous. Means there are many words which have different meanings. It depends on the use of context. And sometimes in the initial thing, if we learn some other language, we also confuse, because the same word used for one meaning and same word may be used for another meaning. There are many examples even in English, or sometimes some word can be used for noun, the same word can be used for adjective, or even same word can be used for verb also. Just for example, silver. So if we say silver may be noun or silver may be adjective, we can define something with silver color. It may be adjective or it may be a verb also. Like we can do if we are doing polishing, or we can say silvering. So that sometimes create the ambiguity. It's very difficult. As a human, we understand by our experience, but for computer, it is very confusing. But if we talk about the computer language, any language, C or C++ or Java, there are very clear-cut definition. If one keyword is defined, that is used for that purpose only. If we have defined int, so that will use for int only. Or for keyword is there, that will be for a loop. So there are very clear-cut definition of each word. There is no this type of ambiguity in standard computer languages. But natural language, we cannot have this control. It is it is in practice, and we are doing from along. We cannot change. But in Sanskrit, yeah, there are a lot of things that are very clearly defined. That's why initially it was told that Sanskrit is one of the most suitable language for computer. There are very clearly defined things are there. Another parameter is redundancy. So natural language employ a lot of redundancy. Yeah, a lot of synonyms, a lot of things are there. Means we can express the same thing by many words. And even it also create the complexity. We can map. It is not that complex ambiguity, but of course redundancy improves our processing. It increases the complexity of program because we have to map one thing to many. But formal languages are very less redundant. There are normally for one purpose there is for normally one word, one particular thing. So it actually reduce the complexity to understand computer in better way. And another thing is literalness. Literalness means how the words are used. So natural languages are made of idioms and metaphors. Yeah, in our daily life also, in even any language, English, Hindi, even Marathi, we use some idioms, local or the thing which is not literally the same. So we use idioms, so that doesn't have a literal meaning. It is to represent some other things. But it is really difficult to deal. Formal language mean exactly what they want to say. So in computer language, there is no space for idioms or metaphor. Whatever you want to do, straightforward you write it. So these are some common differences, or we can say these are the challenges basically. So how to deal these challenges to get our natural language more understandable by computer? We have to rely on machine learning to derive meaning from human language, because machine learning is basically a technique by which we can do this type of mapping, or we can say training, so that it can train the system and understand these type of ambiguous, redundance and literalness it can overcome. So that's what, without machine learning or AI techniques, NLP is actually not possible to get better results. So it is a very integral part of NLP, AI and machine learning. Now we will see the components of NLP. So whenever we start doing anything, any processing on the text or conversion of one language to another, there are basically two components comes into the picture: NLU, Natural Language Understanding, and which is actually translation from human language to machine language. So in that, of course, these three challenges are there, or ambiguity we discussed. Lexical ambiguity may arise, syntactical ambiguity may arise, and referential ambiguity may arise when machine tries to understand human language. So as the human language has a natural ambiguity, there is a lexical ambiguity that I told you, that one word can be used differently. It may be a noun, it may be a verb, or it may be anything. Syntactical means it can be used in different way, that we'll see through example. Then another component is natural language generation. So once the we converted our natural language into machine language and try to machine understood that language, then there is another part in which machine needs to generate the another whatever is desired in natural form. So it is a phase where machine conversion from machine language to natural language. To generate this, it involves text planning. It has to understand the text and then how to give the answer or output. Text planning is required, sentence planning is required, and text realization. And finally, what should be the output, in which form we need. So these are the major two component: NLU, natural language understanding, natural language generations, and they have different challenges and their other things that we will discuss. First of all, we learn about natural language understanding, first component. It is basically human to machine translation. This is the first phase when any natural text is given to machine from human. So what is the purpose? It has to identify what do the users say. Machine need to understand what users say. What is their intention and meaning? And it has to extract the intention and meaning from that particular input. So basically it involves mapping the given input into natural language into useful representation. So whatever natural language input are given, then it has to map with the useful representations. So there are some internal knowledge base by which it has to be mapped properly. Then analyzing different aspects of language. After that, it is required to analyze the aspect of language, means how it is used, in which intention this statement or these sentences are given. So, but of course, to deal with that, there are mainly three challenges: lexical ambiguity, syntax level ambiguity, and referential ambiguity. By this example, you will understand. In lexical ambiguity, this I have given the ambiguity of a single word is called lexical ambiguity. Means one word is treating as different forms. It may be a noun or it may be adjective or verb. So that ambiguity should be resolved first. Means by the sentence, the machine should understand this word is used as in which form or in which context. So that is very much first part. Then another second is syntax level ambiguity. Here a sentence can be parsed in different ways. Means what the statement is trying to convey, that need to be understood. For example, a sentence: he lifted the beetle with red cap. Here now we have to understand with red cap is for what? He or beetle? Did he use cap to lift the beetle, or he lifted the beetle that had red cap? This is very ambiguous thing. And of course, in natural way, we understand because we have some context or we know the things, whatever previously said, or in as a common sense, we can understand. But for computer, it is very difficult. So we need to develop the way so that it can deal with this syntax level ambiguity. And another ambiguity is referential ambiguity, which is also sometimes depends on the previous context, referring to something using pronouns. Normally pronouns we use, no? So it depends on the previous sentence, but that also create the ambiguity. Rima went to Gauri. She said, I am tired. Now, here in a natural way we can understand, but as a computer, who is tired? Rima or Gauri? One input can mean different meanings and many input can mean the same meaning. So this type of ambiguity we need to address. So these are some common challenges that is actually addressed by NLU, and it is implemented, of course, through using machine learning, and we have a lot of tools for that. Python has given very good toolkit, NLTK. In that, all these things can be dealt by the inbuilt libraries that we'll see. So this first part component is natural language generation. So once the machine is machine understood the human language and deal with these ambiguity, then this processed information will be converted from machine to human translation. So this is another phase. So it is a process of producing meaningful phrases and sentences in the form of natural language from some internal representation. So whatever input is given, then we understand. Is it a question? We need to give the answer, or we need to summarize whatever we want to do. Then what machine should say to user means now this is the we can say the what machine should give output. So of course output is required in which form? Not machine understandable form. It is required in natural form. So it involves, first of all, text planning, which includes retrieving the relevant content from the knowledge base. Now we need to check our the machines have their own knowledge base, so it will the relevant content, what is it is given as an input, and then what is expected to give the output. So from knowledge base, it will retrieve the relevant content. Then second thing is it will do sentence planning. Whatever contents are there, then it should be formed as a sentence, meaningful sentence. It includes choosing required words, forming meaningful phrases, and setting tone of the sentence. That is very much required. If you have some keywords, but the sentence framing is required to understand by human. And then text realization is required because again it may be unstructured. So it is mapping sentences plan into sentence structure. Structure is also important because a lot of things are computer is having input also may be unstructured. So to make it structured, this text relation process is required. So these are the actual internal working we can say with the components NLU and NLG. Now we see the various phases or steps, basically how overall this natural language processing works. So first is lexical analysis, where all these lexical ambiguity and the things are done. Syntactic analysis means these type of word formation and all their syntax related things. Semantic, their meaning related things are addressed here. Then discourse of integration. So basically discourse integration means it takes the actually the context. Because if there are more than one sentences, then second sentence may have some dependency on the first sentences. So that should also be integrated. Then pragmatic analysis is required. So overall, we as a proper output, whatever we need, that need to be analyzed. So we'll see one by one these all phases. So first one is lexical analysis. It is also called morphological processing. Because here in this phase, the purpose is to break chunks of language into set of tokens corresponding to paragraphs, sentences, and words. So whatever input is given, if it is given in a big paragraph having 5-6 sentences, then we divide into actually tokens, and tokens will be at smallest part. Means first we'll divide into sentence, then words. And maybe individual words are called morphemes or tokens. It involves the dividing words into small unit called morphemes. So actually whole sentence cannot be processed by the machine at a time. So we have to take token one by one or morphemes one by one. And these morphemes are very smallest meaningful things. Here even a word can also be broken into two subwords to understand more better way. For example, uneasy can be broken into two subwords, un and easy. So actually it will interpret, then it is the opposite of easy. So there are the knowledge base and it will analyze by that. First it is done lexical analysis, means tokenization or extracting or dividing the words into small unit. Then syntax analysis is done. it refers to arranging words to make a sentence. Now, it involves determining the structure of the sentence in phrases. So it is important how these words are arranged, means what is the structure. Suppose we have some word school, then the boy, and goes to. So how will arrange these words? If machine arrange the school goes to the boy, is it right? Is it natural language will accept or reject? Because it is very important to arrange the word in proper sequence, meaningful sequence. So the boy goes to the school. That should be there. So in syntax analysis, this thing is kept in mind. Another phase is semantic analysis. It is concerned with the meaning of words and how to combine words into meaningful phrases and sentences. So if there is some sentence, there is a hot and I need ice cream. But if by arranging or preparing a sentence, if it is we are trying to write hot ice cream or something like this, that would be rejected. So that should be meaningful. So these things are very important in NLP: lexical analysis, syntax analysis, and semantic analysis. After that, disclosure integration is also very important. It deals with how the immediate processing preceding sentence can affect the interpretation of next sentence. Because if, for example, he will play. If he will play, the meaning of he depends on the previous discourse context. So it depends on the previous sentence. The name is given, who was there. So he will play based on the previous. So that is important to integrate. Pragmatic analysis. It deals with the using and understanding sentence in different situations and reinterpretation of sentence. So once we have prepared or converted the sentences, but in the final phase we have to reinterpret it. Like for example, put the banana in the basket on the shelf. So here also the meaning should be proper. It should not actually defeat the purpose of saying, or whatever statement want to say, it should not defeat. Put the banana in the basket on the shelf. It should be very much clear. So these are some phases which actually required for any text processing in NLP. Now we'll see the general techniques used in NLP and how this various tools are available which helps. So first of all, understand these terminology. So normally the input is text and output is a document which actually done by the NLP processing, tokenization, tagging, parsing. There are natural entity relationship, so that naming entity relationship that we will see. So first you understand, you have to understand these some terminologies: bag of words, TF, IDF, tokenization, stop word removal, stemming, lemmatization, topic modeling, word embedding. These are some common terminologies or techniques for syntactic analysis. So first is tokenization. As the name says, it actually breaks the sentence into individual words, that is called tokens. Why we need? Because we can tokenize them whenever we encounter a space, and we can train a model in that way. Basically, it's very simple to tokenize. Whenever we get a space, we read character by character, and whenever space is occurred means one token is over, then another token will start, because words always have always has a limited by the spaces. So by using this simple programming, we can get all the words, even punctuated as individual token, as they have some meaning. Of course, when we even comma has its own meaning, otherwise it will change. I think you remember many examples. If you put the comma symbol, the meaning will change. So it is a very important phase is tokenization. We have to put in the proper order also. Another important technique is stop word removal, which is also always required to actually reduce the size of that processing for efficient processing, we can say. So there are various words in the English language that are used very frequently, like and the. These words make a lot of noise, which while doing statistical analysis. So they don't have much actually meaning for the analysis. If we can remove also, we can extract the meaning. We can take these words out, and the list of stored words varies and depend on what kind of output are you expecting. So there is actually a standard list of stored words. So we can even add or remove some words in that library, so that whenever sentence is given as an input, we can remove that word for further but efficient processing. Another technique is TF-IDF. This is term frequency and inverse document frequency. Actually, it is a frequency, means how many times. Most important, it is a measure of importance of word in a document relative to the corpus. So in the whole document, how many times it comes. So that is actually measure or count, which gives us the to analyze that document. Another similar measure is also there, bag of count. It also counts the occurrence of a word in a document. It actually takes the individual word, counting of individual word. So how many times this word is repeated. So it sometimes say the importance of that word, and by that also we can decide the context, decide the area. At 2 gram means we take the combination of that two words and count in the document. If we work on the 3 gram means we'll take the combination of 3 words and count in the whole document. For example, we can say this is a natural language. So if we take each word 1 gram, then this will be different, will be different, natural will be different, language will be different. But if we'll take 2 grams means we'll take the set of 2 words. This is a one actually word. Then is a maybe another word, or natural maybe. So it will be a pair of 2 words. So based on that also we analyze. Sometimes normally we should not go more than 5 gram, because then the things will change. So we generally take 2 gram or 3 grams or the set of 2 words or 3 words, which makes sometimes meaningful things to analyze. Another important technique is stemming. So stemming is basically extracting the root word, and it is a process of reducing inflection in words to their root form, such as mapping a group of words to the same stem, even if the stem itself is not a valid word in the language. So here we just want to extract the stem. Suppose there are many words in which postfix are there, like play. So there's playing, player, played. There are because of the tense, because of the use of as a verb, there are a lot of additional letters are added into that. To simplify, our purpose is just to took the stem, means the root word. But in case there is another process, lemmatization, also in that we do the same thing. Only the difference is that in lemmatization, that word should have a proper meaning, or it should be in the dictionary. It should be a exact meaning. But in stemming, it is not necessarily that is a valid word in the language or in the dictionary. It is valid. Only the common letters, initial letters that we take. For example, if you see in the diagram, stammer is produced by the STEM. Rest is actually can be done, can we create another combination. So the root word, or we can say is stem. Of course, in M, root word is M, because it is not adding with this. The going, the go. And having have, HAV. So it is not a correct word in the dictionary, HAV. But since we are finding here STEM, so it is okay, or it may have some other things. But in the case of lemmatization, it reduces the inflated word properly, ensuring that the root word belongs to the language. So actual word is required. In case of this lemmatization, this lemma or AM will be B, because the root word is B. The going, it is a the going, because it is not a as a verb, it is a the going, it is in different form. Similarly, having, the root word is HAVE, which is a part of language. HAV is not a part of language, but it is a stem. And in case of lemmatization, we need the correct word. So this is the minor difference, and based on the requirement, we do either stemming or lemmatization. If we are not required any precise thing, only to understand, we can use stemming, but to get more precision, we use the lemmatization. There are another technique is part of speech tagging. So of course, every sentence has there some noun, some pronoun, some adjective, some verb. So this part of speech should be tagged properly for further processing. Means sentence should be broken into proper tagging with the noun, with the pronoun, with the verb, so that in the next phase we can make the proper use of that. Another technique is named entity recognition, NER. It involves determining the part of text that can be identified and categorized into preset groups. Means name of people, names of places. So it is actually the second step of POS. In POS, we generally extract the noun, pronoun, etc. But any specifically extract the names. So names of people, names of places. So it is basically interested in more in the noun or even pronoun, but proper. So that is the part of this named entity recognition. Chunking, that is actually a process which supports this named entity recognition. It is a process of adding the syntactical structure and meaning to the sentences, while POS tags describes verb, adverb, adjectives, but they don't provide the meaning. So in POS tag, it is not providing the meaning, it is only describing the text. So chunking is performed by taking POS tag as an input and returning chunks as an output. So it actually group meaningful things, a chunk from that sentences. And it helps in extracting the group of noun and verb phrases that are used for named entity recognition. So first POS is done so that all the verb, pronoun, noun will be identified. Then chunking is done. Using that chunking, it creates the chunks of different tags, and it helps to extract the group of noun and verb phrases for NER, named entity recognition. Okay. Another technique is regular expression. If you have studied this theory of automata, TOC, or compiler design, there is regular expressions. We have to define the expression, any sentence in form of regular expression. So it is a sequence of characters that define a search pattern. So by that search pattern, we can understand the language. Word sense disambiguation is another technique which involves giving meaning to word based on content. So here, because this ambiguity is there now, for one word has many meanings. For example, a tank is full of water. So here the tank means, since it is the context here, it should be clear. Two meaning, because it may have a water tank or it may be a military tank. But since the meaning here, the context is the tank is full of water, means of course it is a water tank. For example, a fisherman went to bank. So this is again a confusing. Bank may have this bank, commercial bank, where we can deposit money, or bank may be a riverside bank. So that type of words should be very much understood by this technique. Another technique is topic modeling. Here, it is a machine learning technique that organizes and understands large collection of text data by assigning tags and categories according to each individual's text topic or theme. So this is very much useful whenever we actually comment on the social media or anywhere we put the blog, write the blogs. It extracts the topic or creates the tags, categories, and even you have used many tags in social media. Then how you tag, you put the hash symbol and that category or whatever tags we have created. So that actually helps to categorize the topic or theme. Based on that, we can make the language searchable by anyone. So these are the various techniques, and we can take one example and understand through NLP pipeline how it is actually processed. So if we have a raw document, for example, airline tweets, we have some services, airline services, and a lot of tweets are there, and we want to actually get the performance feedback or whatever from that particular tweets. So the simple process is feature transformation, or we can say pre-processing pipeline, in which tokenization is the one of the first step. Then after tokenization, it requires to remove stop words to to reduce the size of that particular tweet, because each tweet will have some stop words, a and the. So that is not actually a matter of interest. So we can reduce this. Another way of reducing is stemming. We'll take only the root stems. It may be meaningful or not meaningful. The root words are extracted. Then normalization is done, and which is a process of converting into a uniform sequence. That is actually important for the later processing. So normalization are done on that text, then it gives a pre-processed text. So if initial tweet is having around 200 words, it will reduce to even 50 words, because all these things we have done. So it will reduce the size and give the proper meaning. Then feature extractor. So here this term frequency or inverse document frequency are used, by which it will count or measure the things, how to actually classify. And then there are decision tree classifier or any other machine learning models for classification can be used for training first and then testing. And based on the basis of that, we can say the expected outcome or check the accuracy. So this is how the NLP works. Now we talk about the tools. So if you have worked on the Python, there is a specific toolkit NLTK for this NLP. There's PassI, there TextBlock, PyTorch, Texala. There are a lot of we can say plugins, or we can include in the Python these toolkits, and we can work. Another node tools are there: Retext, NLP.js, and Java also have there is ComCom NLP, Stanford NLP, and Open NLP Apache. So these are some open source tools easily available to work on the NLP. Now we come to the applications of NLP. So of course it is used for machine translation, from where we can convert one language to another language, and that is very commonly used. If you have used Google Translation, you can convert your text from Hindi to English or English to Hindi. And of course, day by day, they are increasing the accuracy based by involving this AI and machine learning. Information retrieval is there, where we can retrieve our useful things in form of a document or links. Sentiment analysis is there from the social media applications, maybe Facebook, Twitter, or WhatsApp. It extracts the sentiments, the purpose of these statements. So this is also very much part of NLP. Information extraction, basically when unstructured data is there, and this NLP is used to make it structured and give the meaningful information. So this is the way information extraction is used. Question answering is also very useful application of NLP. Even we want to give some inquiries, or as a customer support system, also a lot of this type of system is required to ask the questions. So based on NLP, there are many applications or use cases are there. Another use cases are search engines. Search engine also takes the whatever statement you are writing. If we want to search some topic, only keyword may be given, or sometimes we give the complete sentences. Which is the best college in Maharashtra? So in this sentence also it can analyze and give the suppose another relevant outputs. Chatbot is a very common application of NLP. It is actually replaced this IVR things. Previously we call through phone. Now we can just put the some text and it will reply our queries. Now in WhatsApp also, even we have a chatbot. They give some WhatsApp particular number, and on which we can talk to their representative or through machine. Speech recognition is one of the application of NLP, where the language is recognized and the meaning is given. Automatic image caption generation, in which whenever we put our camera on some image, it will give the caption. Based on it, actually searches from their library or the database and give the proper caption. If we put on a flower, it will give the even name of that flower. So it depends on the database how we have given the libraries are there. Automatic text classification is another application where we have to classify the text or categorize the text. Grammatical checking is commonly used in even MS Word or in Grammarly. Now they are enhanced through NLP. The basic thing was there, but it is given in good performance through NLP. Advanced text editors are there. We can automatically update, rewrite the sentences. The paraphrasing things are there. Collaborative filtering is one of the most commercially used by the various industries, in which we actually they need a recommender system or online review based on the online reviews. So nowadays it is very common culture. You have to give the reviews through the website or whatever services you are using. So based on that reviews, the company use this collaborative filtering and improve their performance. Translation memory are also one of the important applications, in which actually common sentences are stored with the translation. So it's not necessary every time it needs to translate. Just like cache memory, which is most common things, common sentences are there, that is translated and retrieved very quickly. So it improves the performance. If translation memories are there, it actually gives the faster results. Computational advertising are also very common now. Like search engine optimization was there. So to make it more advanced, using NLP, this computational advertising is going on. So based on the user's personal data or their preferences, the advertisements comes into his profile or his for his view. So this is a very common applications. We are also seeing the example whenever we search, we get the advertisement as per our requirement or as per our actually interest. Opinion mining is also another type of sentiment analysis, in which we get the or classified or work on the various opinion of the given text. So these are very common applications, and of course the domains not only in computer science, it is normally using everywhere. In biomedical, this NLP is very much useful. Forensic science, where we can analyze the speech, we can detect the crime using their some text or some speech, or even getting the voice. So that is NLP is very helpful in that. And in advertisement, the companies are using NLP to actually target their particular audience or customers. In education, NLP is using online system. We can see there are a lot of translators are there. Suppose I am giving my this talk in English, the translator is there which can convert in our desired language, Hindi or anything. So these type of applications are going to be developed. In politics also, it is very useful to actually address different type of audience or to analyze the voters' interest. A lot of things can be done by NLP. E-governance is using NLP. Now government portals are going to be advanced. They are implementing with this AI technique and NLP. Business development is, of course, NLP is very much helping for the development of business based on the review feedbacks, and e-commerce websites are using NLP techniques. Marketing is another area where NLP is used. Or we can say wherever we use language, means wherever we want to communicate with someone, NLP is very much applicable. So that is overall introduction and about how it works in NLP. So thank you very much. That is from my side. So thanks for listening this talk patiently. Now the time is to ask some questions.
Sir, I was having a doubt.
Yes, sure.
Sir, how can we make a machine understand that these are the words and you have to work upon them?
Yeah. So basically, if you talk about the common English language, we have a inbuilt database, no? So there is a general words of dictionaries there, and we have some stop words list. So by using these common words and all, we understand, no? We understand the machine. We have to use in that way. Just like a human, we also have our own dictionary. Na? Every day we are learning sometimes some words. Na? So that's the natural way we learn, and we store some new words into our dictionary. The same way we can make the application or the toolkit or that libraries, even in Java, in the Python, or in the open source NLP toolkits, they have their own database. So they have a lot of all the commonly used words are there.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Ma'am, may I know the students are from which year? Most of the students are from BTech only?
So the students are from ACE and B.
Okay.
So students, if you have any query, you can ask or you can write your queries in chat box.
Yeah, you can write in chat box also. Okay, even you can send me if any queries there. I have shared my mail ID, amit.sinal@jklu.edu.in.
Okay, I think we have no queries now, sir. So I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to Dr. Amit Sinhal, sir, for his explanation of natural language processing, and I'd like to express my sincere thanks on the behalf of the department to you, sir, for giving an excellent coverage to the topic. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to place on record a hearty thanks to Dr. Amit sir for the perfect logistic support and guidance he has extended to all of us. As an event like this cannot happen overnight, the wheels start rolling weeks ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye over detail. We have been fortunate enough to be backed up by the team of very motivational and dedicated faculties. And lastly, with your due respect, Sonal ma'am, shall we declare the session was successful? Yes, thank you, ma'am. I request and thank all the participants for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The feedback link
Thank you,
is
sir, for
shared in the
accepting our
description.
invitation. Have a good day, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Shall I leave?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Bye bye. Take care.